Good morning and welcome back to the Elite Invite in Leuven. This is the semi-final of the mixed division between two teams from the UK. This is a replay of last year's UK National Championship final. Deep Space in white as we look at them now, the reigning UK National Champions and European Champions, against Leamington Lemmings. Deep Space from London and Leamington Lemmings from Leamington. My name is Sean Colfer. I'll be here with you to talk you through the action as soon as these two teams get underway. The teams have obviously getting to the semi-final. Good tournaments up to this point. Deep Space yet to be beaten here at the Elite Invite. They did have a very close quarter-final with another British team in Reading yesterday. Deep Space coming through that one. 12-11, started out on D for the final point, but were able to get that break to get themselves through to the semis, whereas Lemmings played against German team Disconnection from Freiburg. They were down in the later part of the first half there, down 7-4, but had an excellent second half of the game and came through that one 15-11 after going on a long D-roll. As we see here, the EUCS rating for Deep Space. They're ranked 6th at the moment with a 4-2 record. That's after they played a spring invite. They went over to Padova, where they played some of the best teams in Europe this year. Tiefseetauke, the German team from Munich, was one of those defeats, and the other one came against Mosquitoes, Austrian team, who came to Elite Invite last year. But at that spring invite, Deep Space were without several of their best female action players. They had a lot of players playing for GB Women at a training weekend, so it wasn't the whole team. Whereas Lemmings, this is their first outing for EUCS ratings purposes this year. As we see their O-line getting ready to start the game. Very familiar looking O-line for those of you who've seen Lemmings before. And Deep Space getting ready to start this game on D. Kate Gibson with the disc there, one of Deep Space's GB Women players, getting ready to start us off with the first pull. Fielded by Wilson and goes to Daly, who moves it quickly to Harms. Harms with a shot downfield. Edwards is looking for an option here and can't quite find Pantling. So Deep Space's D-line is going to get their first chance to try and get on the board here. Gibson picks it up, breaks the mark. Rowe with the disc. Nice inside shot. Hawkins. York back around to Gibson under tight pressure from Harms. Gibson, great take there. Gibson shoots to the end zone and Hawkins takes it in, and Deep Space with the first break of the game. They get on the board straight away, and their D-line gets a turn, and then perfect from there. Great start for the team from London. Lemmings were moving it nicely, but just that one throw that didn't quite come off makes the difference. As you see, this great catch under pressure from Kate Gibson, followed up immediately by another great catch under pressure by Emily Potter there. Back to Gibson, who finds Hawk it off the front there in a very tight space. Good throw and good footwork by the deep space players. So deep space coming out on D again. New additions, Stephen Millard with the disc there. He was playing with Reading last year, but has moved over to deep space for this season. Davis with the disc, over to Wilson. Wilson down the sideline. Catma to Andrews. Lemmings just running down that open sideline. And again. And all the way down that sideline. The stall cap was getting a little high there, but Davis works himself some space and is able to get the disc from Harms. And a much better point for Lemmings there, although deep space will have a couple of internal discussions about how I think Lemmings went all the way down the open side the whole way there. See Saville just gets caught underneath. Nice move from Davis. Just pushes Saville towards the disc and then just takes a jab step to his left and finds some space as we see Nate Sanders, one of the leaders of this Lemmings team. It looks as though they want to change the disc. Unclear to me why they're changing this, but they are. And so Lemmings now out on D. In the UK Nationals final last year, this started out quite one-sided. Lemmings, it was their first time in the final. Deep Space had been there before, and you could see there was some nerves, and Lemmings couldn't quite get themselves on track early in the game. They pulled themselves back into it, made it a game later on, but Deep Space pulled away in the early offing, and the outcome was decided pretty early on. This time around, Lemmings are going to be looking to put themselves in a better position, and things like that are going to help their cause. Cook with a second pass turnover, and now Lemmings' D-line has a chance to get an early break back and level it up here. It's with Orr with a high release flick, finds Miras, and that is a break back. And we are now back on serve. Pretty quick point there from Deep Space's perspective. A slightly disappointed one, but very early in the game. They've got plenty of time to work out what the issue was there. So you see Cordron fields the pull. Cook looking for that first pass, and just too far out in front of Amy for Sale. And in the end, a nice easy catch in the end zone for Miras. Well, an interesting start to the game. That's 2 throwaways as the 2 breaks. D-line looking to get another break here. Another one of their additions this season, Ben Bruin on the line. Third from the right there. He's played for Smog before. Cordron centers to Cook again. This Deep Space moving it now nicely now. This time around, much smoother offensive point for them. A couple of passes. Alvaro Otamendi finds some space going deep, as he is wont to do. Takes that down. Gets deep space back on the board, and it's 2-2. Litamendi, one of the best offensive players in the mixed division last year. You can see there he just finds a bit of space. So quick, going deep, those first 3 or 4 steps is where he very often wins the cut. Very difficult to stop going deep. There's a nice shot to him, and we are now at 2-2. So deep space back out there on D. Gibson holding it again. She'll be a key part of this D-line, you would assume. Pulling, but also when the D-line's got turnovers, she has been the one picking up so far. She gets the point underway, and it's centered to Daly. Daly to Harms. Andrews clears that space in front of the disc. Handling has space. She has the disc. Down to Wilson. He comes to Andrews. Andrews is looking for an option here. There's not a huge amount in front of him. He goes with a big hammer across the field to Katma, and Katma gets his foot down in the end zone, and he scores. Andrews didn't have much on there. I think all the options that were being given to him were very shallow. It would have been very tough inside angles. There was no angle really for the around at all. In the end, he has to throw that hammer. But Katma comes down with it. See that angle there for the around's not really on because Wilson's in the reset position. Must have been a pretty high stall when he threw that hammer, but Katma's very good in the air. Takes that down. Bails him out slightly. And Lemmings back out on D. So a tight start to the game. This is one of 2 semi-finals going on at the same time, obviously. The other semi-final is featuring Nullakt against Seskadistas. Nullakt from Germany, Seskadistas French team. And the French team are up 3-0 there, so very different start to the game than we are seeing between the 2 British teams. As that shot goes down the line, not much space there. Miras gets in front of Baker and knocks it away. I think that's probably for Cordron, but there's too much on it. Baker probably would have been able to bail that one out, but Miras reads it well and gets in front. Squire's just putting a little too much on that one, I think. All with a disc. Quick pass to Miras in the center of the field. A little poach off there. Gives space for Davis. Finds May. May with the around. Or turns on the Jets to get there. With Davis now. And Neris. Neris shoots the end zone. Oh, just a little too high. That's close. That's close. It's a tough one to reel in. See, she gets her hand on it there. Ellis, but Ellis can't quite secure it. It's going to be a second chance for deep space as Elliot Cook, Australian handler, brings it to the front corner of the end zone. Resets to Cordron. Cordron looking for a throw to that break side, but there is a pick called. Let's see if we can see what happened. There it is as Itamendi goes underneath. May just gets caught up in his own player. And the way they're setting up there is asking for picks, I think. If Itamendi or Baker move there, then there'd be a pick. But they separate as the disc comes back in, and Itamendi's able to find space. He's underneath there. Wilson finds him. Wilson to Squires. Squires to Cook. Squires and Cook moving it quickly between themselves. Squires looking for a break option instead. Throws it on that side to Baker. Back to Squires. Deep space momentum slowed slightly, but they're still getting pretty good options here. And Cook throws to Squires. I think that's who he was aiming for. Squires certainly started his cut first. For a moment it looked like it was a little wide for the reset off the front, but Squires catches in the end zone. And that is a hold for deep space. But Lemmings close to another one there. That shot to the end zone was pretty tight. As we see Cook find himself some space here. Yeah, that does look like it's to Squires rather than to Hawkins. And it's a good hold for deep space in the end. And we are at 3-3, ball square. And on serve. Seski up 4-0 now on Nulact. So the French team starting very strongly. That's Tim Gilboy, one of the coaches of the team, with a good pull. Fielded by Wilson, but centered to Daly as Lemmings get underway with another offensive point. Edwards with this. Andrews has gone all the way across the field. He had space, but Edwards wasn't looking his way. It's a good catch under pressure from Pantling. Pantling fires that one deep, but that is drifting out all the way, and that is going to be a deep space disc further down the field. Again, Kappa had a little bit of space, as we see a tough catch coming all the way across the field here from Pantling. So is right there. Kappa had a bit of space, but tough throw throwing into a very narrow channel. And Pantling can't quite get the angle right on the disc. The zero discs do tend to float a bit more IO than you want them to sometimes. So Gilboy brings it in, inside shot. Potter on the disc. Potter looking for an option here, throws that break. Again, a pretty late stall throw, but it finds Rowe. And Rowe has an option in the end zone if he wants it, but decides not to throw it. Potter, back to Rowe. Rowe under pressure. It's Millard, down the line. Archer. Archer to Potter, long time teammates, those two have played under 24s and spiced together. A good connection, and they hook up again for a score here. Potter scoring for another break for deep space. See Archer looking for an option, and Potter with a fake backwards and then a strike up the line. Daly can't go with her, and Potter scores on that front cone. Good defensive performance from deep space there. So a very clean game so far. Both teams playing well. And when they've had the opportunity, they've either scored or come very close to it on the D-line. Lemmings with that turnover in the end zone. And other than that, I think we've had basically clean holds or clean breaks. As deep space look to put another one in and stretch their lead, which now stands at 4-3. Gibson with the disc in her hand again. Oh, welcome back to Deep Space versus Lemmings in the semi-final of the Elite Invite in Leuven. A slight technical hitch has taken us away for a moment there as we come back to the action and see Lemmings D-line back out. Cubitt breaks the mark. Lemmings looking for an opportunity to get another break here. Haynes around, but that's going to be going back for a pick. Goes back from Ruin to Haynes. So we're at 5-4. Deep Space still up. Still up that break. Haynes with a disc. Looking for an option in the end zone, but hasn't got one. Comes back to Sanders. Sanders looking on the break side. There's no space there. Sanders throws a hammer. And a layout bid by Haywood. Can't quite get there. If we watch it again, I'm not 100% sure he had to lay out there. But you can see, just hits that right hand and he can't reel it in. I think he's taken an injury there. Deep Space taking the opportunity to bring on a new player as well. That's Hawkid, Sarah Hawkid coming on. And we are back underway. So he missed another break from Deep Space. They were up 5-3 before Lemmings scored to bring it to 5-4. So Deep Space are up 2 breaks as their O-line is out here to try and put them ahead 2 points. Deep Space started out this half on D. Oh, and that's a good catch under pressure by Hawkid. And Caudron can't get her hands around that one. Very unusual mistake from Caudron. Very reliable player for both Deep Space and GB Women. And Lemmings now with another opportunity, a short field opportunity to try and get this break. And Haynes! Haynes at the front of the end zone. He's able to catch that one from Sandy. That is a break back for Lemmings, but they are still 1 break down. But hanging in there. It's a tight game in the early part. So their D-line going to be going back out to try and get another one. As we see some of the highlights from earlier. There's Potter, that was a break for Deep Space. Just before our intermission. And Wilson firing in, gets himself in front there. A quick start, some nice footwork from Sandwell there. And Hawkid finds Sandwell at the front of the end zone for another break, so that was 5-3. And then this is the Lemmings O point. Atwell with a nice inside break there. Lovely throw. To find Bailey, and then that's where the turnover came on the point we were just looking at, a little too far for Fonsale. And then another turn going into the end zone where Cook just overthrown slightly as well. And then we had the cap, the drop there. Sanders picks it up and Haynes just wins that race to the front cone. Nice footwork in the end to get back into the end zone. So that's what he's missed. Looks like it's going to be another lovely day in Leuven. Good day for Frisbee. You can see the flags in the background there, barely moving at all. It looks like there's very little wind over in Belgium. You can see the teams basically able to throw both ways without too many difficulties. As the pull goes up from Lemmings. Deep Space looking to execute another offensive point. That pull lands out of bounds and Caudron will bring it to the Brit mark. The Cordron with the disc. Slash across the field from Wilson. Wilson looking for a reset. And the markers come all the way around to try and take that away, but that leaves Squires open on the break side. Squires fakes at Cordron, clears her out of that lane. He's looking for something now. He's a little isolated. There's not much close, and he has to throw that one deep in the end. There's several bodies underneath it, and Itamendi comes down with another pressure over May, but it looks as though we have, I would assume, a stall called. So it looks to me as though Orr is saying he said 10 before Squires released it. Very unusual in these circumstances for the players to agree, as we all know. The usual outcome here is that it goes back to Squires on 8. We'll see what happens here.
45 seconds.
Or asking the sideline if they know what happened. And as expected, the discus stay with Squires. So it'll be a contested stall out. Squires does not have much there. Baker has a bit of space maybe, that might be an option. She's the right side of her mark. That is where Squires goes. And reset to Baker. Squires with a nice move. Finds some space up the line. Back to Baker. And Baker just gets that throw slightly wrong. And straight to Orr. So the Lemmings D-line with an opportunity now. Coward. To May. May has a deep shot if he takes it. And he has taken it. And it's right out in front of Bailey. And that is another break for Lemmings. That is 6-5 and we are back on serve. A patient point for Deep Space with that one moment where there was some difficulty for Squires, the contested stall, but they got moving again after that, but just a missed throw from Baker. You can see May, and you see Bailey immediately has space. May doesn't hesitate, puts it over the top, and Bailey's able to run that down and score. Bailey, another Spice alumni on this field. There's quite a few of them. So Ellis with the dish getting ready to pull. Female matching point. Lemmings scored 3 in a row now and have brought this game back level. Their D-line is really getting some joy, slowing down Deep Space. And that pull looks to be tailing out as well. And it's going to be bricked by Squires, I believe. You can see they're being marked by Ellis with the cap, number 50, 56 or 58? 56, I think, is one of the captains of Deep Space. Layla Denniston wasn't there for the spring invites, the first time we've seen Layla this season. One of Deep Space's best players for a long time. It's a great throw by Cordron and a great catch by Sale, but that continuation not quite there to Cook. Trying to move this quickly and just too quickly, even for a teammate. And Lemmings with another opportunity here. Cubitt with the disc. He's looking for an option. Nice around. Good catch by Haynes. Back to Atwell. Atwell looking for something. Goes down the line. There's a poach there, but can't quite get there. It's Bruin with the disc. Back to Atwell. All the way across the field there. Lovely play there from Lemmings, really finding the break space and exploiting it. Cubitt goes all the way around. Ellis has space. Takes it high. To Cubitt. Cubitt plays through the contact. And Cubitt breaks the mark to Bruin. Another break for Lemmings. 4 in a row for them now. They are on a roll. Deep space. Struggling to get that execution back to where it was early in the game. Lemmings hyped up. All the noise you can hear is coming from the team in red. It's a nice play here. Cubitt gives Ellis an option. Plays through that contact, and it's because there's 2 players around him. Bruin has loads of space at the front of the end zone there. And Lemmings, after they put in that hold, after Deep Space had their own run of 3, Lemmings took a timeout to talk about what they wanted to do, and since then, they've scored 3 in a row. So it's a 4-point run for them. To put themselves a break ahead after being down for a large portion of the first half here. But they're D-line out here knowing if they score again, they'll be taking half. There will be Deep Space coming out on offense for the second half. Coward prepares the pull. It's a high one. Looks like it'll be a bit shorter, but no, it also sails out. Those flags moving a little more in the background. Wind potentially coming across the field towards us. As we watch in the camera, as Hill takes it to the Brit mark. This is a D-line out for Deep Space. They've been broken several times now, so the D-line is out to give it a go. Looking at the front of the stack for initiation, nothing's happening there. Sandwell takes it down under pressure. Back to Hill. There's Potter. Deep Space getting some movement, but not really making much space. So that's a scuba try. Scuba try from Hill to Sandwell. Sandwell tried to get in there on the catch from Sanders. Sanders is shaken up by that one. He doesn't look delighted by the contact there. You can see the scuba just not quite far enough in front of Sandwell, and he comes in and you see the contact as he reaches back over. And Sandwell takes a sub as well. So it's Davis on the disc, marked, I think, by Mendy. Davis would break. Bailey with the disc. Davis again a little isolated, but it's a nice break to find May. Coward is the one coming back there, but you can see Coward going towards Mendy looked likely to cause a pick. And the pick called. Coward comes back and then back up the line. Nice cut out of the stack from Harms. Harms looking for something now. Finds Bailey. There is a slight poach, but good recovery. May looking at the end zone, fires it over the top. Is Davis going to get there? He is going to get there. That's another break for Lemmings. They score 5 in a row to take half. The D-line absolutely rolling now. 5-3 down to 8-5 up. Half-time taken by the team from the Midlands. What a comeback for them. All the momentum on their side. Another slight throw-in miscue. And the D-line takes full opportunity as Davis runs down that throw from May. Davis makes that cut. You can see it to Mendy. Stay a little shallower to try and get in the way of the next one. And May as he's done a couple of times here in this game, catches it, sees a slight space and throws without any hesitation whatsoever. So 8-5 to Lemmings. Not necessarily what we expected. We'll take a quick break for half time as the teams do. We'll be back with you soon to bring you the second half of this game.
Get there. Yes, he will. The lovely did.
Hello and welcome back to Leuven for the Elite Invite. My name is Sean Colford. We are watching a mixed semi-final between two teams from the UK. Deep Space from London, reigning UK and European champions, against Lemmings from Leamington. The team in red, as we zoom in on them there, they were down 5-3, a couple of breaks down. Deep Space seemingly storming towards another win at the Elite Invite. They are unbeaten here. But Lemmings with a 5-point run to close out the half. They got a hold and then were able to just roll on the D-line from there. Deep Space are coming out on offense in this second half.
Let's go Layla! Let's go Saz! Let's go Max! Let's go Al! Let's go Will! Let's go
That's Lemmings looking to carry on their D-roll. Big point for Deep Space this one. They really need to work some things out offensively. They've been getting a little isolated on the disc. They've had a few situations where people have been left a little alone, and then just some throwing errors is what's been hurting them most. Ruin pulls to get us underway in the second half. Again, that one looks like it's trailing out of bounds, and it is. Must be a wind coming towards us. We've had a fair few pulls now that have been landing out. And it looks like that was Itamendi. As we see that flag there indicating the breeze is still not that strong. That was Itamendi there, back there, looking to field that pull with Cordron and Squires upfield. Not a look you see from Deep Space very often. Itamendi, one of the premier downfield cutters in Europe. I would expect there's going to be an underneath and then Itamendi going deep. That did happen. So Squires with the disc. There's discussion here. So it's coming back to Cook. So travel called. Can't imagine why else it would come back to Cook. Yeah, my assumption putting Itamendi back there was he was supposed to catch the ball, centre it. First pass, he goes, deep shot. Happy days. It's with Cook. He's looking for an option off the front. Resets, and looking to reset instead to Itamendi, and waits for Itamendi to walk him onto the break side. Itamendi breaks the Squires. Squires with an inside throw, it's a little high, Wilson's reaching to get there, Peach puts the pressure on and manages to force the turnover. This throw from Squires over the shoulder of Sanders. It's just drifting. Peach doesn't get a hand on it, but he does enough to put off Wilson. Cubitt now down the line. Oh, it's a great bid. A great bid from Haynes, but she can't quite get her hands around it and bring it in. Good aggressive shot from Cubitt to get it out for Haynes, but a little too much edge on it, I think. A little flatter, and Haynes might have a good shot at getting that one. So deep space with the disc back. Cook resets to Cordron this time. Much more usual setup for deep space. Cordron, beautiful break from the mark. Goes to Denniston. Denniston with that lefty fake and just over the head of Cordron. Deep space drifting these throws a little too much. Squires and Denniston both guilty of it there. As Cubitt picks it up for a second shot at it. Haynes cuts again. Now looking at the reset. He's back to Barnett, but that's another turnover. Both teams struggling a bit in the conditions. The breeze foxing them slightly. All the turns in this point more forward than have been overthrows. Cook walking back to pick it up. So Cook with this. Turns down the break opportunity and goes to Cordron. Cordron looking down the line. A good catch under heavy pressure from Denniston, who touches it to the ground. Totally meaningless. Cordron with the disc. Ooh. Had a brief look at a break lane, but a nice break back into the centre of the field for Denniston instead. Oh, back to Cordron. Deep space right outside the end zone here. Another offhand throw to Denniston. Lefty around. Cook bids. He can't get there. That has hit the ground. And Bruin goes. Is that going up from Sanders? It is going up from Sanders. Bruin has time and space. Will catch it. Itamendi can't get there in time. And Bruin calls a timeout because he is completely isolated. Deep space again. A throw that's just drifted a little too much. And it is a timeout with Lemmings just outside the end zone now. We'll take a very, very brief interlude while the teams talk about it. Move it back to see it as we just see a replay. Denniston the around, a little too low. And Cook gets a hand on it but can't bring it in. And then does get a hand on it after it hits the ground. Nice shot from Sanders. We might as well stick around and not take a break here. Sanders does love those deep shots. When there's an opportunity to take them, he's not shy in doing so. As we see, it looks like the captains of the team, the spirit captains of the team. Sanders definitely one of the leaders of Lemmings. Sandwell one of the captains of Deep Space, and Thomas one of the spirit captains, I believe. They must be talking about something because Sanders looks quite animated. We had that moment early on where Sandwell and Sanders collided as Sandwell was trying to come back to the disc. Sanders quite an animated character generally. They're all shaking hands, so hopefully that's a good outcome. This is a big point for Lemmings. This would be six in a row if they can take this one. Whereas Deep Space really do need to break this D-roll and put a point in fairly soon. We've already seen they can take breaks. They've scored 3 in a row at one point in this game. They had a hold and 2 breaks. Had 3 breaks in the first half. But as Lemmings are growing in confidence, it's going to make it more and more difficult to chip away at this one. So Bruin, captained. GB McKean is on beach and indoors. Moved to Lemmings for the first time this season. From the Midlands, but has never played for Lemmings before. Tapped in with Denniston guarding Haynes at the front of the end zone. This goes to Sanders. Sanders comes all the way around to Cubitt. Calls. Nice catch by Barnett, going to ground. He's looking for an option, goes to Cubitt. Cubitt looking for an option on the break side there, not there. Looking for a little pop into the end zone, goes to Sanders, and Sanders catches that one. And it's another break by Lemmings. Sanders pumped up after catching that one. Whatever that discussion was, doesn't feel as though it's fully resolved in his mind. That is 6 in a row for Leamington Lemmings, and they lead the UK and European champions 9-5 after a 6-point roll. Really good patience on the end zone there. It was a nice catch by Barnett to keep possession alive. Cubitt, literally with his foot on the line pretty much, just puts it out in front of Sanders. Cook's outstretched arm can't get there. And it looks like Coward got in the way of the spike, slowing Sanders down. And here we go with another Lemmings D-line. Those O-line players are going to have to run another warm-up. Got May, Davis, and looks like Hayward, Coward, Bailey, and Miras for Lemmings. All D-line players. They're not breaking lines at any point here. Hayward, only 20, a University of Warwick student, and there's high hopes for him. A lot of players on this Lemmings team that come from Warwick schools around Warwick, universities around Warwick. There's been a lot of development over the last few years. Really have raised their level significantly the last 5 or 6 years to become one of the best mixed teams in Europe, Lemmings. But deep space on the disc now with Kate Gibson, who have broken their lines. This is a largely D-line group, although Fonsale does play on the O-line, so it's kind of a hybrid. Gibson goes to Hawkins, under pressure. Hawkins back to Gibson. There is a fall in the end zone. Not immediately clear what happened. I was looking at the disc. See Hawkins with a nice move to get open in front of May there. And then Archer with a double move. That's what happens. Double move to try and get free, and they just collide legs, Archer and Coward. It looks as though everyone's okay. Both got to carry on. Archer on the GB Women's Training Squad as well this season. And Gibson taps it in. Gibson looking for Hawkins, and it's a gender cross switch, and Gibson takes advantage of Miras getting caught up in that. And that is a very, very important hold for deep space. Hawkins and Gibson, and their D-line is finally going to come back out and try and get another break. You can see here, May is on Gibson. May goes across to try and switch, get back on Hawkins, but Mira stays with him, leaving Gibson totally open in the front corner of the end zone. So deep space. Coming out on D here. You see Tom Fisher in front of the camera there. Unfortunately injured yesterday. His arm in a sling. Fingers crossed he is back sooner rather than later. Gibson staying out there. She holds the disc there, getting ready for the pull. We see Gilboy, Tate, So, Thomas. And did I see Rowe as well? I did. And the final player on that line is Archer again. So Archer and Gibson both staying out there after they're getting that hold, that hybrid line. Lemmings lead 9-6. And deep space. This is their first point to try and get back into the game. Nice catch from Wilson, a low one. Daly now with it. Finds Pantling. Again, a lot of contact there on that catch. So making it difficult, but Pantling goes over the top and finds Wilson. That was a sky ball there, trying to find Katma. Katma being marked by Tate. Tate, very big man, very tall. All 6'6" of him to go over there. And Wilson trying to do it, but couldn't quite execute it, and it's a chance for the deep space D-line. So Gibson with the disc on for our own end zone line. Resets backwards to Gilboy. Gets a breakout, but Tate can't quite get that one. And now Lemmings have it just outside the end zone in a much better position than they did before. So Wilson's picking it up. Stack and reset all quite a long way away here. As I say, that Edwards runs in a little closer. An option to Andrews, marked by Tate. Two very tall men there. Katma with this now. He's looking for an option. And it looks as though both players just turned and left Pantling. He faked. Pantling went all the way to the sideline. Both Gibson and Archer turned around to try and stop anything else coming into that area. Pantling stood still, and Katma found her for the hold. As we see Pantling come across, Gibson's poaching in there, and Archer sees the poach and stops to let that switch happen. But that miscommunication with Pantling wide open. After getting that turn, deep space unable to convert it. So 10-6 now to Lemmings. The other semi-final turning into a bit of a rout, to be honest with you. It is 12-3 to Cescadistas. The French team absolutely motoring, taking off 8-2. Then Nulat with a hold out of half, and then 4 more points for Cesky. Not even an hour into that game, and it's 12-3. So unless Nulat are able to come back with one of the best comebacks you'll ever see, it looks as though Cesky will be heading to the final of Elite Invites. So which UK team will they be playing? We'll see in the next half hour or so whether Deep Space are able to pull this deficit back. Caudron to Conseil. Conseil looking for an option, goes to the front of the stack to Wilson, but Peach is able to get there first. Lemmings just making this deep space offense so difficult at the moment. Every throw that's hanging up, they're getting in there. And Atwell picks it up with an opportunity to stretch the lead even further. Oh, but Conseil earns that one back, gets her hand in there and knocks it away. Cook picks it up early and rips it deep to absolutely nobody. So there is a call of some sort. Was there a cat running across the field? You do not see that every day. Wow. That might be the first time I've ever seen that cat running across the field. Well, gladly the cat's been corralled again now. So we're resetting in this game. Cook still has the disc. A cat running across the field, honestly. So there's whatever, there was some kind of call that's been retracted. Cook still has the disc. Looks like there'll be no stall. People still moving around slightly. So the deep space O-line did turn it over, but Conseil did a good job of earning that one back. Cook has to put the disc down now, apparently. And then pick it up again. That seems completely pointless, but okay. Cook with the disc. Conseil again. Again, a little isolated here for Conseil, but finds Wilson. Caudron with a good dump cut. She's so good at keeping that disc moving. Finds Wilson again. Gordon wins across the front. And then goes down the line. Good shot. Perfectly weighted throw to Cook. Atwell was in there, in the vicinity, but didn't quite have an angle to have a bid on it. Perfect placement by Caudron, and Cook catches it for a 10-7 lead for Lemmings. Another hold by Deep Space. So after that 6-point run from Lemmings, we've had a bit of trading since. Deep Space's offense still not running like a perfectly well-oiled machine. We did have that one turnover as we replay the cat skulking away. It knows what it's done. Doesn't care at all. Caudron sees the defender a little too square, attacks that inside shoulder of, I think that's Barnett, and then just carries on the disc momentum before the force can set. It's a nice goal for Deep Space and their D-line back out to try and start eating away at this Lemmings lead. Tate, another new addition for Deep Space this year, with a good deep pull. Davis fields and goes to Wilson. Wilson with the inside. Edwards. Andrews. Arms on the far side. Goes down the sideline. Back into the hands of Wilson. Wilson spots Pantling in loads of space and takes a nice easy throw to her. Pantling now a little isolated. There's a poach off there. Orchid trying to come and get involved. Takes Davis. Good switch downfield though. Harms with the disc now. Lemmings moving this well. Harms looking to come back in to the field. Wilson stays pretty close to the line. Davis goes down the line. Pantling's in that dump position now, but not quite there. Wilson with an inside break to Davis. He's looking into the end zone. Wilson again. Pantling up the line. Not quite. Oh, layup bid. Not quite enough. From Tate. Andrews catches it. Good hold from the Lemmings O-line. They're moving that disc nicely. Getting those resets out where they needed, but none of those stalkouts were getting too high really. Good work around the back by Davis, Pantling and Wilson until they found an option to Andrews in the end zone. You see Davis looking for something. You can see Andrews at the back there come to the front. Wilson fakes up the line to Pantling. Tate goes over to try and help and can't quite rotate back over in time to stop the throw to Andrews. So here we go with another Lemmings D-line.
Has that been put on? Sorry. I didn't know if it had. It had. I thought it had.
Sanders seemingly calling himself off here, putting on Hayward instead.
No, I just didn't know. I didn't know what's going on.
Pretty tall defensive line this one for Lemmings, both Peach and Hayward. Over 6 feet tall, going to make it tough for Deep Space to take those deep options, although Deep Space haven't really been looking for many deep options in this game. It's really only been 3 or 4 of them. They're really trying to get that continuation movement off the front of the stack that has not been forthcoming too smoothly at this point. So Cook with the disc, again looking for a reset, goes to Caudron. Caudron with a break, lovely break. Finds Itamendi, with a deep shot to Cook. As I say, they haven't really been throwing them. Perfectly placed one, and then Cook to Wilson, and that's their easiest hold in a while. Unusual spike there, just like touched it to his toe and then dropped it on the ground. Cook, usually a handler, finding some space there, and then a pretty expansive throw out in front of Wilson, but Wilson had plenty of space. Wasn't dangerous at all, as we see that weird spike. So Deep Space keeping that deficit at 3. Their D-line coming back out here. So Potter, Archer and Gibson. It looks like It's going to be Millard, Gilboy and Saville.
Big sideline, spread, please, spread.
Still a couple of players missing for deep space through injury, so they're not at full strength yet at the elite invite. I'm sure once we get to Euros, the team will look slightly different, although, if anything, slightly stronger. There's still a lot of good players on this team, and a lot of potential for them to come back at it if they're open and start clicking and Dino can start making some dents into the Lemmings O-line. Nice catch by Edwards under some pressure from Soda. So poaches off. There's a deep option if they want it, but Catmaranco decides to holster that one and go to Andrews instead. Andrews looking downfield now. He's a bit isolated. Tries to come across to Wilson. That's going to be too far. Wilson's not going to catch up to that one. Gilboy streaking deep, but there's no one to pick up the disc. And it's an opportunity for deep space to start eating into this lead. I would assume it's going to be Gibson walking towards this one. Wilson takes a sub after that layout to try and save possession. On comes Davis. Davis taking the matchup with Gilboy. And it's Potter walking towards the disc. Emily Potter, she's a mixed training player this year. We are back in. There's a swap there. Andrews taking Gilboy and Davis taking Itamendi. Itamendi has space. He's coming all the way under. Potter was in the area as well, but Itamendi was already very committed to that cut. Itamendi all the way around. So that IO throw, lovely out in front of Itamendi. So getting it back again. Going back to Itamendi. Davis getting in the way there. Read that play perfectly. He throws the inside to Harms. So this with Catman now. Harms is gone, but Catman decides to holster it again. Andrews. He just doesn't decide to holster it. He rips it deep. Catman's in the area. And he comes down with it over Saville and Archer. Catman. Great read on that floating throw. Lemmings back up by 4, 12-8. The little flex after the catch. Lemmings have been really impressed with their discipline and not throwing those kind of maybe 50-50 shots. But Catman goes deep. Saville's still looking at the disc. Andrews can see that there's 2 or 3 meters of separation. I think that drifts a bit more than he wants to do, and Art gets a good read on it. To be fair, even if Catman doesn't catch that one, Harms has done a really good job backing it up and trying to end up where that disc is going to end. Wait for the pack to miss it and catch it behind them. I think I speak for short people everywhere when I say it's one of the best tricks in the book. But Catman does read it well, takes it down with the right and pushes Lemmings up by 4. So that was a big opportunity with deep space. They were moving in nicely before. Fantastic run through D from Davis, who asked for that switch as well, put himself with Itamendi. That's his ability to keep up with one of the fastest players in the mixed division. Cook with the disc. Lemmings sagging all the way off on that reset. Bailey recovers onto Cordron, and now Cordron, there's a big gap between Cordron and everyone downfield, and she gets the break to Baker. Again, Bailey sags into that lane. Another break. Van Sale. Back to Cordron again. She's completed 3 breakthroughs, now 4 breakthroughs. I was going to say if they hadn't made too much ground, but good gainer there, and Bailey gets caught looking the wrong way. Cordron goes down the line. Resets to the middle. Van Sale. Cordron straight across the front. Cordron running this point. Van Sale again. Poaching off by Lemmings to try and bracket that area. All the way across to Cook. There's an open Hawkins there, and Hawkins wrinkles back in. Squires instead open at the front. Fonsale finds him. A little discussion about contact maybe between these two. They're hugging. Okay. Don't have to see that. Now they've got their arms around each other's shoulders. Very tactile. First there was a bump on the field, and now there's hugs off after the point. It looks like everyone's reasonably happy. Good offensive point from deep space there. Fonsale, you see Hawkins wrinkle back out. And then you see, I think the arm of Sanders just out. Squires runs through the contact and catches it. It might not have been intentional. Looked like Sanders was just running, to be honest, but they'll hug it out. I'm sure it's all fine. And deep space bringing themselves back within 3 after that nice offensive hold. So their D-line coming back out here. Tate back out again.
Come on!
Rose, Sandwell, Hawkins. And it looks like it's Thomas, Gibson, and Potter. Tate waiting to send this one down there. Only just about 6 minutes left in the game now. Terrell fields it and goes to Davis. No Wilson on the field here after he was shaken up on that last one, and Andrews just goes straight through his hands. Nice short field for deep space. Sandwell coming to the disc. Looking for the reset, comes around to Gibson. Gibson's got the inside lane. Instead throws the Hawkins onto the sideline. There's a coach somewhere because Potter's wide open. Daly now recovers towards her. Gibson goes down the line with a poach off by Katner. And that throw goes over the top. Tate can't recover to it. Sorry, it's Rowe can't recover to it. Potter saw that Rowe had space, then 3 Lemmings men just sprint towards it, trying to put Rowe off, and Rowe can't quite get there, and he lays out and lands in the muck of the front of that goalpost there. And it looks like there's been an injury call by somebody from Lemmings.
15 seconds!
It looks to me as though that is Andrews. Yeah, that is Andrews. Throwing himself in there to try and stop the score. Did enough to put off Rowe. He couldn't catch up to it as it drifted over his head. So Wilson back on now. Thankfully, he's all right after being shaken up on that layout on the last offensive point for Lemmings. But it's Davis bringing it forward. Davis looking for a reset. Does not have much here. He's going to have to get rid of this one. It's taken down well by Edwards on what must have been a still 8 or 9. Katler. Terrell. Palms. Edwards. Lemmings running down the field. Into Wilson. But Hawkins saw that coming a mile away and gets in front of it. Tate rips it deep. Hawkins still going. That's going to go perfectly into his hands. Double happiness for Jack Hawkins. Read that play beautifully. Reset off the line. Straight to him. As his wife Sarah comes in to congratulate him. That is a big break for deep space. They're going to need more of them to get back into this one. But that's a good start. 12-10 to Leamington Lemmings. You see Edwards on the sideline. You can see Hawkins just drifting away, not looking at the disc. And then as soon as Edwards' throwing motion begins, he just sprints in front of Wilson. Wilson looked at Edwards to see what the problem was, but Hawkins was already going. You can see his frustration at the end of that there. Because Tate picked it up and ripped it deep without any hesitation whatsoever, and Hawkins had time to run onto it. Tate and Gibson staying out there. Looks like Fonsale coming over to play on the D-line here.
Yes, Kate!
I believe, yes, I believe. Let's bring it.
Stop play!
So we see Katmer, Davis, Andrews, and Wilson on the O-line with Harms, Edwards, and Pantling. So pretty standard O-line for Lemmings, as Millwood prepares to send the pull-up. Davis finds Andrews in the centre of the field, who turns down the throw to Edwards. A little bit of poaching. The people matching players maybe just made him a little nervous about that one. Oh, that throw backwards to Andrews. Tate looking at it, and Tate gets a hand block on that inside lane, right outside the end zone. Tough couple points here for Andrews, but deep space with an opportunity to come back within one here with only 2 minutes left in the game. Gibson looking to the end zone. And Edwards came all the way around to try and stop the easy throws and left that lane wide open to Saville. Saville now goes to Gibson. Edwards recovers to get the force out. The inside throw goes. Gibson to Fonsale. Spice connection. GB women's connection. Now a deep space connection. And a minute and a half left. Deep space are back within one. 12-11 to Lemmings. Edwards recovers here, but she's a long way around, leaving that inside channel. And Fonsale reels it in. Lemmings maybe needed to take a timeout, I would think. If I was them, I'd be considering it.
1 minute!
It's 3 in a row for deep space. O-line hold with a kind of pass right at the front. A big huck from Tate to Halkett, and then another end zone execution from Gibson to Fonsale. Gibson back out there. Tate back out there after that hand block. Hawkins back out there after scoring, as is Sarah Hawkins. Rowe, Thomas, and Sandwell out there as well. So still a full D-line for deep space here. It looks like this is a female matching, not a male matching point, so Tate will take one. And it'll be Gibson pulling. And Archer comes out to join the group instead. Replacing one tall player with another. Gibson pulls the disc to get us underway. So Lemmings looked like they were moving serenely towards the final, but their progress has been slowed. And this is a D-line for them. Bailey with the disc. Looking for a reset. Atwell can't shake free. Bailey instead goes all the way around to Bruin. Bruin breaks. Atwell goes deep. Bailey and Bruin have some space. Great catch from Bailey under some pressure. Thomas was in the vicinity. They don't know if Bailey was in. Looks like there's some discussion. It's very close either way. That looks like a goal to me. Looks like that left foot comes down on the right side of the tape. That's a goal. I think that's a good outcome. Great tape from Bailey. You see in the slower motion replay, Thomas put their hand right out there, made that catch very tough. Well, has to be real concentration to bring it in. The Lemmings D-line getting the job done, and the time went during that point. So it looks to me as though this is going to be a game to 14. So we see a replay of this one. Bailey going deep off the back of the stack. I would suspect the throw was for Bruin, but Bailey does a great job reeling it in. Catching that on the run with the wrong hand, and under pressure. Impressive stuff. And several of the players that were on for that point staying out there. Certainly Bailey staying out there. Looks like Ellis staying out there as well. Davis coming over onto the D-line alongside May and Peach. Coward holding it, and Haynes out there as well. So this point could put Lemmings into the final. Coward pulls to get it underway. They're going to have 3 chances at it, Lemmings. Cordron with the disc. That first pass to Fonsale under pressure from Haynes was not complete. And this is a short field opportunity now for Lemmings. It'll be Bailey to pick up. Davis coming over to the O-line. But they're trusting Rosie Bailey to get this one underway. Rosie Coward upfield for that first pass. Davis goes up the line. Coward doesn't want that one. Davis ripples back. Coward takes that instead. Davis finds May. May has been taking those quick shots with aplomb in this game so far. Davis instead. Peach. Davis is wide open in the middle of the field. Peach goes up the line to May rather than take that one. May looking now. Back inside to Davis. Bailey had space on that break side, but Davis didn't think he could fit it in there. It's back instead to May. He goes up the line. Back to Davis. It's been efficient work from Lemmings. Generally keeping the score count pretty low. And I believe that is a foul called by Cook. You can see Cook is standing his ground here. Oh, he does lean into him slightly. I thought at first glance that Cook was standing still, but at the very end he does lean into Peach slightly there. Probably 6 of one, half of the other. And there's a pick called as Bailey tries to come across the front of the end zone to get the decisive score. So that would be Cordron running straight into her teammate. So a pick called, we reset, and it's back with Davis. Still fairly early in the score count, I think. Bailey does make that cut, and then straight back, and Davis takes it. Bailey catches it. That is a win for Lemmings, 14-11. They go to the final of the Elite Invite in the biggest upset so far in the mixed division. 14-11 win for Lemmings. That 6-point run at the end of the first half into the beginning of the second has proved decisive for them. A huge win with a team from Leamington avenging that loss in the UK Nationals final and setting them up with a spot in the final against Seska Distus later today. A great game from Lemmings. Deep space, started out well, dug themselves a hole, couldn't quite get there, as we see Bailey had a great game, caught the final 2 scores to win that game for Lemmings. We look again at the final score here. Bailey cuts flat across the front of the end zone and then just turns and goes vertically deep. It's not a big space to fit it into, but it's a beautiful touch on the throw from Davis. That's something they must be working on, because that kind of throw, that kind of action is so difficult to execute. Execute perfectly. Lemmings in the final. What a good game. I hope you'll stick around and watch more of the action today at the Elite Invite. We've got all of the finals coming up for you. But for this game, my name's Sean Colfer. I'll leave you there. Enjoy the rest of the tournament, and I will see you soon.
For the sky, don't let me down.